Episode 8 New Wineskins. The sanctuary was humming with energy. Since the events surrounding the healing, more people had arrived, some drawn by whispers of Caleb's words, others seeking refuge from Gabriel's expanding influence. Yet the influx brought tension. Newcomers often arrived with strong opinions, voices clashing as the sanctuary struggled to hold its fragile balance. Zach had grown used to this tension, but something about the new group of arrivals felt different. They spoke in sharp, cutting tones, decrying everything from Gabriel's algorithms to the very sanctuary that sheltered them. These skeptics positioned themselves as intellectuals, self-proclaimed critics of technology and the society that had allowed it to dominate. But their words were laced with cynicism rather than substance, offering no solutions, only contempt. One of the loudest voices belonged to Elias Morel, a former academic whose scathing essays had long denounced AI's rise. While he had once been a respected critic, many in the underground now saw him as all talk, a man who pointed out problems without offering a way forward. It was no surprise, then, that Elias was the first to speak up when the trappers brought Levi to the sanctuary. Levi had been one of Vessler's architects, responsible for training the behavioral models that powered Gabriel's predictive algorithms. His arrival at the sanctuary caused an immediate stir, with whispers spreading like wildfire. "What is he doing here?" Elias asked sharply, as the group gathered to hear Levi speak. "A man who built the very system we're running from thinks he can just walk in and join us?" Levi's expression remained calm, though his face betrayed faint traces of exhaustion. "I didn't come here to defend my past," he said. "I came because I see what I've done. I believed in what we were building at Vessler. I thought we were creating something to help people, but all we did was perfect control." "Convenient realization now," Elias shot back, his voice dripping with disdain. "After you helped turn half the population into obedient data points. What do you think you can offer us? Another algorithm? A lecture on ethics?" The crowd murmured. Some nodded in agreement with Elias, while others looked uncertain. "I'm not here to offer answers," Levi replied, his voice steady. "I'm here because I want to start over, to help undo what I've done." Elias scoffed. "And what does that mean? Starting over? Sounds like more empty talk." Caleb, who had been silent until now, finally spoke. His tone was measured but sharp. "Elias, I've heard you speak a lot about what's wrong with the world. You're quick to tear down, but what are you building? What are you offering to the people here besides your criticism?" Elias glared at Caleb. "I'm offering clarity. People deserve to know the truth." Caleb stepped forward, his gaze locking on Elias. "Clarity is good, but it's not enough. The truth isn't just about pointing out what's broken. It's about building something new. If all you do is criticize, you know better than the system you claim to hate." The tension in the camp lingered long after the exchange. Zach, who had been watching silently, couldn't help but feel torn. Elias wasn't wrong about Levi's past, but Caleb's words had struck a chord. That night, Caleb called a meeting by the river. The firelight cast flickering shadows across the crowd as he addressed them. "You've all come here because you're running. From Gabriel, from Vessler, from a system that turned your lives into data," Caleb said. "But running isn't enough. If we want to build something real, we have to stop clinging to the past, our fears, our mistakes, our pride. We have to let go of what's broken to make room for something new." He glanced at Levi, who stood quietly at the edge of the crowd. "Levi knows this better than most. He helped build the system we're fighting, but he's here now because he's willing to face the truth about what he's done. Are we willing to do the same?" Elias spoke up from the crowd, his voice cutting through the silence. "And what about accountability? Are we supposed to just forgive him because he feels bad? Because he says he's changed?" Caleb turned to Elias, his expression calm but resolute. "Accountability isn't about punishment. It's about transformation. Levi isn't here asking for forgiveness. He's here because he's ready to let go of the old system, including the part of it that lives in him." Elias's face hardened. "And what makes you think that's enough?" It's not about what I think, Caleb said. It's about whether he's willing to change. The question isn't about Levi, Elias. It's about you. Are you willing to change, or do you just want to sit back and criticize the ones who are trying? The next morning, Zach found Levi working with a group of sanctuary engineers, helping to rebuild a signal disruptor. Despite the tension of the previous night, Levi seemed focused, his movements deliberate, and his tone quiet. "You don't seem like a man looking for forgiveness," Zach said as he approached. Levi paused, wiping grease from his hands. "I'm not. Forgiveness doesn't erase what I've done. But if I can help dismantle even a fraction of what I built, maybe that's enough." Zach studied him for a moment. "What made you leave Vessler?" Levi's face darkened. "I saw what the system did to people, how it stripped away their humanity, one decision at a time. It wasn't about helping anyone. It was about control, about ensuring compliance. And I was part of it, all the way. But one day I realized the system wasn't just controlling others. It was controlling me. Every decision I made, every line of code, was part of a machine I couldn't stop." Zach nodded slowly. "And now?" Levi glanced at the disruptor he was helping to repair. "Now, I just want to make sure that machine can't reach here." That evening, Caleb addressed the camp again. "What we're building here isn't just a refuge," he said. "It's a new way of living. But you can't pour new wine into old wineskins. If you cling to the past, your fear, your pride, your resentment, it'll break you. The truth demands more than criticism or clarity. It demands transformation." He looked directly at Elias. "The system thrives on people who tear down without building up, who see what's broken but won't risk themselves to fix it. If we want to break free, we have to stop being like that." The crowd was silent, their faces shadowed with uncertainty and hope. Later that night, Zach watched as John toddled over to Levi, holding out a small carved block. Levi hesitated, then took the toy with trembling hands. "Thank you," Levi whispered, his voice barely audible. In that quiet moment, Zach saw the truth Caleb spoke of, not in grand speeches or bold declarations, but in small human gestures. The truth was alive, breaking through pride, resentment, and fear, creating something new in its wake.